I think that time after a movie is, what's the word? It's kinder to the movie and kinder to its good things, because I don't really remember everything that I hated about the first one. But I think I've got the shining examples of things that I do not like.
Welcome to Potato Chip Pictures, the movie franchise review podcast, finishing up with the Austin Powers franchise. My name is Sammy Davis.
Hello again, it's Justin here.
And today we are just wrapping up our final thoughts on the franchise, discussing its place in history, our ideas about it, and whatnot. I think the only numbers game that I can play with this particular one is giving our average ratings for the entire franchise, which I have looked at, and I find them hilarious because both you and I, through our complicated scores, and therefore the show as well, have an average review score of 4.3.
For everything altogether?
Yep, because math is weird. Math is a weird thing.
4.3 sounds
I got
great.
a 4.3. You got a 4.3. The show's average is a 4.3.
There's only two people. We just need some guest rankers.
For real. We're gonna have to peer pressure our one friend and tell him he's got to do it. So we can get some more unique scores. But really, this is a story of a franchise where one movie kind of lifts up the rest. At least in my opinion, Well,
you'll have to tell me which one that is.
The second one, The Spy Who Shagged Me. I rated it a 6 out of 10. You gave it a 5.5 out of 10.
That sounds fair.
It was, the first movie, but with a budget and like a real writer. And it gave us like a genuine story that we could follow. It had some wonderful moments in it, a lot of quotables. And then the third movie was the one that essentially copied what they did last time.
I think that's a pretty good, feels like a mountain where the middle movie is better. But I think by the second movie, they're going after, what would be the word? Some surprises. Like, there's comedy is surprise, but the initial movie clip for the Tom Cruise version of Austin Powers was like, it was a good surprise, and it felt like an SNL skit, and I was okay that it didn't really ever come back. It's like, okay, here's a skit that we're doing, and we wrap it all up, and Austin Powers is the only thing that gets to walk into the rest of the movie. But
it did come back, because that was Goldmember, and at the very end of Goldmember, when they capture Goldmember, they're at the movie premiere.
Oh, I thought I just saw. That was the third one.
Yeah, that's why it's the freshest on your mind, because it's the one you watched most recently. The Spy Who Shagged Me. One. That was the one where it started off with Dr. Evil returning to Earth. I think we saw him on Earth because he showed up on a talk show. I can't remember who it was. Jerry Springer?
Is the third one. Yeah.
Second one.
Second one. Yeah. I wonder why. What did I like about the second one? Well,
Well, that one also had Heather Graham, and this is what I actually did want to talk about. There's really only one thing in all of these movies. Well, I guess two things in all of these movies that you can rate. You can rank the Mike Myers characters, and you can rank the leading ladies. And you had some very interesting ones. First one was I can never remember her name. She's one of the most beautiful
Vanessa.
women. I don't know if that's correct.
No, Vanessa Kensington.
Yes, that's the character name. I was expecting you to say the actor's name. So
I remember it at times when I'm not trying to, and now it's like,
Elizabeth Hurley.
Yeah, that's
Elizabeth Hurley. So, Elizabeth Hurley was gorgeous, but in the first one, she was really kind of just there to be like, oh, Austin. Oh, Austin.
You don't belong in the 90s.
Yeah.
But that's endearing for some reason.
Exactly. I'm going to fall in love with you by the end of it for some reason. That movie really wasn't great. But, she's gorgeous and she was in it. Second one was Heather Graham playing a much better character. Way more suited to being paired up with Austin Powers. Someone who was an equal to Austin, as it were.
Yeah. I think that helps him. So I feel like Vanessa was more contrary or opposite, but Heather Graham is just another sexed up super spy. So, they go back in time, and in his time, it all makes sense. And it's like, okay, I can kind of put that in my memory during the movie and then just enjoy the plot that exists.
Mm-hmm. And it does in the second one. That's also another thing that I think makes Heather Graham stand out as, the leading lady of that movie, is the fact that her movie actually got a plot. And, Beyonce's movie also got a plot, but that's because it was copying from the second movie. But I do want to speak briefly about Beyonce, who I think, did her best, but the movie did nothing with her.
Yeah, she kind of just goes along into the plot, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She's really just kind of there in a lot of the scenes, not really contributing or adding too much. And maybe I need to watch the movie again just to make sure that I am not making things up. But
I feel like she probably does something when they're trapped. Maybe.
Like, I'm sitting here thinking, no, I'm when I think of them being trapped. Movie. Yeah, I'm thinking of Heather Graham or Elizabeth Hurley from the first movie with the irritable fish. I don't know if they really got trapped with Beyonce. I can't think of one. So I put her at the bottom of the list only because we just watched that movie and I can't remember anything that Beyonce did in the movie except pick out her afro in the sumo thing.
It's not as much of a plot as Vanessa in the first movie, but she gets Nathan Lane to do lip syncing. That's kind of my favorite part.
Yeah, but that's a Nathan Lane part. Like, yes, Beyonce's
she's doing the
scene.
words.
She's the one with the voice.
Yes, true.
I will say that
he's the number 4 leading lady. There you go.
That scene is probably my second or third favorite scene in the entirety of the Goldmember movie. But that entire movie really only had like 4 scenes that I probably loved, and the rest of it I just kind of tolerated. But it was better than the very first movie, which really just felt like a series of skits that had been put together in some form of chronological order. I do not know how that movie had so much of a cultural impact.
The first one? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of... It feels like one of those movies that comes along and because maybe movies were cheaper. You go out and enjoy a movie, throw out a quote, and it sounds entertaining, even if you haven't watched it. And then people that have watched it are in the know. So even though it's kind of lame, the quote makes it have a different life.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, there are whole fields of study for people who will look into moments in culture and why they happened. And I've never even looked into it, like why Austin Powers, why then. I certainly loved it at the time, and I am never going to turn down watching the second movie, The Spy Who Shagged Me. That was
You killed
fun.
me when you were like, "Oh, I would definitely see any continuation of the franchise." Like,
Oh yeah. Here's the thing. They give me Austin Powers 4, I'm going to go see it. I don't know why. Like it's because it's a franchise and we've watched the first 3 of them. I have to continue it.
I'm sure they would bring back Will Ferrell just because that's okay. That's fine.
Oh man, if they could get him, that would be pretty incredible to have him in another one of those movies. But he wasn't in the third one.
No?
No, he was not there. At least not as Mustafa.
Yeah.
There was no Mustafa by that third movie. But in the timeline, he had already died. So it's fine.
That doesn't matter. What are we talking about?
Yeah, for real. Number 2 died, and he came back in the very next movie with a light scar on his cheek.
Well, if you are, I don't know, did you finish ranking the leading ladies?
I think I would, if I had to put it in an order, at 3 it would be Beyonce, 2 Elizabeth Hurley, number 1 Heather Graham. That would be
mine. Number 4 Nathan Lane. I'll agree with your list. I just loved it. Oh my gosh, I can see it in my mind because I was not expecting it, and then it like. The acting of the lip syncing just included so much movement and like face. So excellent job.
It was a standout scene, and it's just a cameo. It's so crazy to think that is really just like a throwaway cameo, but it's not. It's probably, one of the moments of genius for that movie. All right, I want to hear your ranking of Mike Myers' characters. There are 4 of them.
Okay. Let's see. Let me think through. Okay, so I know which 4 they are. I was trying to make sure that I have my list right from the movies. That's a tough bottom of the list because
exactly. I've been struggling with the bottom as well.
Top is definitely Dr. Evil, at least in the first movie, was a bit of the part that he disappeared into.
Oh yeah.
There wasn't any Mike Myers in that. A little bit more in like the musical pieces in the second and third, which I just absolutely despise. So then Austin Powers himself would be my second.
Same.
It does, again, feel less like Mike Myers as himself. So he does a good job.
And then there's this huge cavern to get to 3 and 4.
3 and 4. the second movie makes you really dislike, if you dislike the fat bastard persona and stuff, like the characterization that he tries to do with just making him like fat but still overtly sexual, it's just it's more off-putting than the bland Goldmember, like he's from the 60s 70s, does skating in a rink and
eats peeled skin.
Eats the peeled skin and has a Dutch accent, which who knows if that's close. He's bland, which I don't know that, I feel like that puts him above Fat Bastard because it's just actively uncomfortable to have Fat Bastard appearing on screen when he does all his stuff. That's what I would do. Yeah, 3 and then 4 for Mr. Bastard being the bottom of the list.
I'm going to flip my bottom of the list, and I'm going to put Goldmember at the bottom and Fat Bastard at number 3. And my only reason for that is that Fat Bastard has cultural relevance. Like,
yeah.
Of almost all of the lines that are quoted in this franchise, "Get in my belly" is the one that I will hear at least once a year. You know, whether it is for the holidays or at a big meal of some other sort, someone is going to tell the food to get in their belly, and they're going to do it the way Fat Bastard did. There is not a single line from Goldmember that anyone ever quotes. He's a nothing character. Like, he's got a gross feature that he eats skin, but otherwise there's nothing to him. Like, why? Yeah. Why did he have to exist? So, but yeah, both of them are by far some of my least favorite characters that have ever been put on film.
You got to put future or past Austin Powers as well because of the ending of the second movie.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. He's also a jerk. All right. Well, he's at number 3. Fat Bastard at 4. Goldmember at 5. So there we go.
Yeah. I think that's incredibly fair because it's just, well, I feel like I dislike Mr. Bastard more than Goldmember, but you're directly correct that he doesn't really exist, Goldmember.
Yeah, like, it's almost like I would rather go with someone who makes me feel something as opposed to someone completely forgettable, you know?
Yeah.
But I can also understand how someone would be so off-putting that you would rather go with the person who makes you feel nothing.
You know, those things that you can't unsee. Please.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I could.
We never mentioned it in the last episode, so I am going to say it now. They did give us a better fat suit in the third movie than in the second movie with the very obvious seams.
Yeah.
And but, you know, it was such a horrible character that I was happier for the scene to be done than to revel in the better
stay
outfit.
In there any longer.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about cultural relevance, because this is one of those franchises where we were both alive for the entirety of the franchise, like its birth to its last movie. And assuming that no new movie ever comes out, like at this point, we were there for the whole thing, and we've come back 20 years later to look at it. What would you like to say about its cultural impact?
I think it's having now watched it, since I didn't watch it at the time, I do recall hearing quips about it. I'm trying to think of when the first one came out again.
Oh, it was like mid to late 90s. I'm trying to remember as well.
Because the time period of the thing itself is like 1999, but
I think it was 97 for the first 97? One. In fact, I know it was 97 for the first one, 99 for the second one, and 02 for the third one.
I probably missed most of the chances to go to the first two, but the last one, I don't say that I remember people explaining what was happening in the movie, because I feel like no one would have been able to really tell me what's, because the skits are meant to be the funny parts, like the plot. I forget which one has the lasers or which one has the preparation H. That's how much it matters. Culturally, I think it'll always be tied to James Bond, which is nice that we did them close together.
Absolutely. I think this would have been wild to do like 2 or 3 years later and be like, what is this franchise?
I kind of remember some of the things happening, but it was nice to know, or at least imagine, that I saw more tie-ins to James Bond with the Japanese, like Mr. Roboto in the third one was all a setup for a Roboto joke and then subtitles. Like, it was random.
Well, the big question that I have for you, because you mentioned that you didn't watch these when they came out. This podcast was your first viewing for all 3 of them.
Yep.
How does it live up? How does it live up in terms of always hearing these quotes and now finally sitting down to watch it?
I think the earlier quotes kind of suffer from they were cooler outside of the context of the movie. I don't know that I could tell you which source any of them come from. If you were to say the quote now, I'd be like, well, maybe he says that in all 3 of them. Maybe. Yeah, baby. Groovy, baby. All that stuff. I think that they're better outside of context because they're simple.
Get in my belly does not work at Thanksgiving if someone says, oh yeah, like when Fat Bastard tells Mini-Me that he wants to eat the baby. You cannot give context and still have the same level of enjoyment with some of these quotes.
Yeah, I would say that would be my estimation of it, because even just remembering that scene and hearing it, I'd probably wince a little bit, whereas before I'd be like, yeah, that sounds like when I'm hungry and there's lots of fun food.
I want it to get in my belly too. But then you start remembering, oh, he's a cannibal. That's horrible.
See, I didn't quite make that connection, because, like, is he being serious? He wants to eat the human? I'm going to go with no, because why would he be cannibalistic?
Because he said he did it once and he wants to do it again. Like, I think the first time you have tasted human flesh, you have become a cannibal.
I guess.
So maybe I'm being too hard on him. For me, I was too young to watch the first 2 in theaters, but I did get to watch them on VHS at the time. Probably not at my own house because my parents were pretty strict, but my friends did own it, and I would go over to their house and we would watch it, especially the first one, because, like, what if we got to see Elizabeth Hurley's boobs? Like, that'd be cool. And there's a drawing of boobs, man. Like, so, I think I watched the first one more than it ever deserved to be watched.
Yeah.
But coming back to it, well, let me finish what I was going to say. In 2002, I was in high school. I think I was either a junior or a senior. I had to have been a junior, like going into my junior year if it was summer of 2002. And so I went in theaters thinking like, this is my chance to see Austin Powers on the big screen. I've watched the first two movies repeatedly. I'm going to watch this movie and I'm going to be part of culture. And I didn't like it. And I worried that maybe I just missed something. But I never watched it again until this podcast. I had essentially
20
completely
years.
forgotten Goldmember. And yeah, like I think I've watched the first two so many times, but I haven't watched them ever since Goldmember put a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, if I had seen that, I would probably understand. It seems Goldmember was just maybe if you hadn't had to add him as Goldmember, you maybe could have made something, but I understand the want for surprise and something else, someone else new.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like they had established that every movie was going to get one more character because one movie had done that. That's not enough to set a rule. Like he could have gone back to just two characters and just really put all of his energy into Dr. Evil and Austin Powers. Fat Bastard has been dealt with. There's no need to bring in a new character, but at the same time, this is his franchise. This is Mike Myers' baby. Like, he wants to show off.
Just add in some more flashbacks and use those kid actors that were the college age ones. I think I would dig that.
Yeah, I really, in fact, if we had to have an Austin Powers 4, I want a total reboot, and I want those kids reprising their roles. I want to see what they look like as adults. Yeah. They're in their 30s now. They're age appropriate to be the Austin Powers and Dr. Evil of that time.
I think even more so because like Austin Powers and Dr. Evil would look older anyway.
Well, the time has come to talk about it. Austin Powers 4. I want to go briefly through some of the key dates. Austin Powers 3 came out in 2002. The first time it was discussed was in 2005. And Mike Myers was like, yeah, I'm thinking about doing a fourth movie. 2 years later, in 2007, people were like, all right, so was that canceled? And Mike Myers was like, no, dude, we're really doing it. Like, it's going to happen. We just got to finish the writing. Like, it's going to happen. 2008, Seth Green was like, yeah, if the script gets approved, I am fully on board. I would do it. 2010, the director Jay Roach was like, hey, I know that Mike Myers is working on the fourth movie.
Man.
That continues through 2013. In 2015, Vern Troyer, the guy who played Mini-Me, was like, yeah, I would absolutely return as Mini-Me if I could. 2016, Jay Roach, the director, once again says, yes, it's being talked about. We're going to do it. It's looking good. 2017, it's the 20th anniversary of the first movie.
Man.
And now they're kind of backing off. They're like, yeah, I would love to do it, but we'll have to see if it happens. And it no longer becomes a thing that we are actively working on. In 2018, Vern Troyer dies. And a lot of people were like, all right, well, I guess either they're going to have to recast Mini-Me or they are just going to be done with that character. And then back in 2020, baby, Jay Roach is like, you know what? I would still do it. I would still do a fourth movie. So we're back in the heat. And all the way back in December of 2024, that was almost a full year ago from this recording, Mike Myers said in an interview that he would do a fourth movie, and he would like to do it sometime very soon.
Man. Oh, I just kind of... There's a lot of things that work against it being a good idea. I feel like... I don't know if I see many movies now that are quite so tied to, I don't know, existing in the satire type world of like, oh, this was the 90s. Oh, this was the 70s. To put him in 2026 or whenever. Like, do we want another 70s era movie where he goes back? Or like, what would they want to do with it? And should they make it very topical to the current years?
See, and I think based on their previous track record of time travel, they would likely either go back to the 90s or the aughts. But it is important to know that at least at the time of this recording, Mike Myers is 62 years old. Like, this would be the same as like late age Roger Moore jumping back in like to do more Bond in the 80s when he was in his 60s. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying Austin Powers 4 should not happen. I'm just saying I don't know if it should have Mike Myers as Austin Powers anymore.
Interesting. I guess you could go the route of like, you know, Austin Powers presents and have it be a completely different person.
You could go the route of Indiana Jones 4 and introduce the son and be like, we're totally going to follow the son for the franchise, and then never make another
one. Yeah, I feel like that is what would happen, just because, like, whether we like it or not, it's Mike Myers that is the draw. I don't really understand why, but if you remake it with the son and the son isn't Mike Myers, like, what's the name on the thing that you're putting up there to bring people in? Have to be really really important person.
Yeah, that becomes such a challenge. And frankly, maybe you could have Mike Myers only playing Dr. Evil. Because, you know, a character like Dr. Evil, you could do well into your 60s. That would be a delight to play. And frankly, it might be hilarious to say that Austin Powers is dead when you have the actor who plays the character in the movie. Like, I think that might work really well to kill off Austin Powers, but still have Mike Myers as Dr. Evil in the movie. Like, oh man, now I'm sold on the concept. Like, sold in the room. Let's go.
Yeah.
But I don't think that would be the way they would go. I think they would have an old man, Austin Powers, trying to cope with the 2020s until he gets to time travel back to the 2000s where people were still groovy.
Had bad teeth.
Yeah. Except we didn't, because by 97 we had a revolutionary leaps forward in dental technology.
But when you go back in time, everything gets undone.
Yep. You always get your bad teeth back. That's how you know you traveled back in time. It's all about the teeth.
Yeah.
I do kind of think it's hilarious that this is a time travel franchise.
I didn't know.
Yeah. I didn't make the connection until the third movie, and then I was like, every one of these movies has dealt with time travel in some capacity.
I think it's an interesting wrinkle, but it makes it feel like, oh, we should be putting this in group with Back to the Future.
Yes. Like if you want to put together time travel movies, this whole franchise gets to be on the list. You could, well, no, I'm going to say that being frozen and then waking up 20 years later counts as time travel. That's the
100%.
entire premise of Futurama.
He's out of time. Yeah.
Yep.
100%. 1000%.
Yeah. So but it's so delightful that all of them, like, here is the James Bond spoof franchise, and they're all about time travel. Like, that's so great. Or at least they all deal with time travel.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily about it. We're not talking about the science or implications. We're just doing it for the fun of it.
to make the premise of losing your mojo doable.
Briefly, I do want to talk a little bit about Vern Troyer, the actor who played Mini-Me.
Sure.
And that's mostly because I enjoyed him as Mini-Me, but when I became aware of him was when he did I think it was VH1. He did one of their reality shows, The Surreal Life. I just saw it on my screen. And it was like all these celebrities doing a version of Real World where they would have to do these challenges and all that other stuff.
Sure.
And he was such a delight on that show. The whole first season from 2005 really was a delightful bit of television, watching a bunch of kind of forgotten celebrities hanging out. Like, I think that season, was it the 2005 season? I'm trying to look up his name to see when he was, because I don't want to.
No idea.
Yeah,
I've heard of the show. I didn't know he was on it.
Yeah, and there it is. He was with Adrian Curry. Adrian Curry. She was a model. Christopher Knight from the Brady Bunch. China, the wrestler. And he was like, there was so much drama in that season. It was the 4th season, and almost none of it had to do with him, because he would just roll around on his little chair and just be happy and just be good.
I'm just chilling, having fun.
Yeah, I'm just being me. And then after that, I learned that he was really into Reddit, and he would just pop in to various threads and have a conversation. And it was open knowledge who he was on Reddit, but at the same time, he didn't go on to Reddit to have people pay attention to him. He went on to Reddit because he just wanted to chat with people.
Just a place.
Yeah, it was just something he did. So when 2018 came and he died, even though I was not a huge fan of his or of the Austin Powers franchise, he had enough impact on my life at that point that I was like, oh man, that's crazy. Like, I can't believe he's gone. And I think that that's one of the many things that might deflate people going forward with an Austin Powers 4. You know?
I can see it. I think if they went like the Tolkien route and talked to the people and family or anything, and got them on board with Dr. Evil's gonna reminisce of Mini-Me and all the moments that they shared, and but he did something crazy, and XYZ, Dr. Evil is using Mini-Me to further some evil plot somehow.
Yeah. So we're gonna have what looks like the desiccated corpse.
Something that's where it's like, well, how do you put that in without being too bad, poorly done?
Yeah, but then at the same time, he had that type of humor that I don't know if he would be offended by anything. So it's a tricky line to walk, because you don't want to offend audiences at this point. I hate to upset anyone, but Vern doesn't care anymore.
True.
He doesn't have the guts for it. But there are other people who do care, and so if you make too light of a thing, they would be offended. But then, like, from what I understood about the guy, he had a very twisted sense of humor, and so I don't know if he would be offended by the same things other people would be offended by. So,
Sure.
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
Yeah, I think I don't know much else about him, but your portrait of him makes it sound like he's just enjoyed having worked on it and then was being his average human experience here.
Yeah, just being a guy. Just being a good guy.
I do think that I didn't love in the movies that he was not very verbal. Like, I think he says one line and they're all shocked that he can talk. And it's like, well, I didn't love that decision. Like, why not let him talk?
Because then you got to pay him more.
I guess. You're just a miniature version of one of the main characters, but...
Yeah, well, I've said everything I want to say. Do you got anything? All right.
Well, I mean, I said in terms of...
Oh, I thought you said no. And I was
no. Very definitive. No, absolutely not.
I am done.
Yeah. Because, I mean, in our inside of the shows, we spoke about most things. I'm trying to think of what else. I'm trying to think of any other side characters that I think the side characters are kind of just there for some seasoning, for some variety. But I do think when they allowed things to be cameos and just silly for the sake of this isn't going to be the rest of the movie. This is going to be a short little spot.
Yeah.
I think each of those shine pretty well. The red London telephone booth on a California PCH1, Nathan Lane, obviously, and number 2, Rob Lowe being number 2.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then the look in the past for those actors. So we've ranked Mike Myers' characters. We don't have to necessarily rank the side characters, but I do think that they kept the movie from failing because you don't need to remember Mustafa's name, but if you do and you call it out and share kind of the inside joke with someone else that's ever heard of it, you can increase the prestige of this movie in the same way that out of context sentences or script lines did when it came out. At least for me, I would say.
It is a lot of fun to be able to participate in quotes, like when people are saying this stuff. And it may have felt awkward if you had never watched any of these movies and you're spouting out any of the quotes because you just hear other people saying them all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But this is one of those tricky film franchises where I'm like, I don't know, you might be able to live with just the quotes and not necessarily the context.
Yep. The quotes, some of the silly James Bond-like names of all the evil villain women. I do think when we started Goldmember and Mystique came on the screen, I was like, is this and it turns out to just be like another cameo where she's there for 30 seconds and then we're going to move on with the rest of this silly movie. But
yeah, it's quite interesting to think about. I think the only other thing that I can think of in terms of, a piece of culture where the memes are better than the culture
like,
would be Goldfinger.
Book is better than the movie.
Yeah. The Bond movie Goldfinger has so many memes that are good. No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die is always going to be a great line. But I don't necessarily need to go back and watch the movie where Bond rapes the bad guy's henchwoman so that she will turn good and save the day. Like, oh, the movie did not age well, but the memes are fine, and that's probably the closest I can think of to the Austin Powers experience for me. But then again, I would say The Spy Who Shagged Me is worth watching. The second movie in the franchise. I think that one's worth it. It's good. It's fun.
Ugh. Well, I'm just like, but the whole like butt tracking device and like,
you just don't like Fat Bastard.
No,
and I don't either. I think he sucks.
But of the three, yes, the second one.
And, then you get to completely skip the forgettable character of Goldmember. And then, I think the quotables will outlive these movies. I think there will come a point when, similar to Shakespeare, like, I don't want to say that Mike Myers is William Shakespeare, but I do think there will come a point where there will be some lines that we quote without even knowing where it's from.
Like
the
Dutch one from Michael Caine.
And I was about to say, Twins Basil Twins is the one for me. I had completely forgotten that was from Goldmember. And yet I've heard it and I've said it. And there are lines from Shakespeare that I've heard, and I'm like, I know that's Shakespeare, but I cannot tell you which one it is.
But the rest of the Shakespeare sonnet or play makes it better instead of Austin Powers making it like, well, I don't love Fat Bastard.
And as a more, modern comparison, I would say The Princess Bride is another one that I hear people quoting all the time. And yet I think the context works. I think you can still watch it today and it still holds up. It's still a good movie.
Yeah, I'd agree. Not a franchise, unfortunately.
Yep, so that's the best you're going to get out of me for a review.
I was about to be like, are there franchises in Shakespeare's? Had the king.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I've wondered about different renditions, specifically Romeo and Juliet. There's at least 13 different film versions of Romeo and Juliet. None of them are related to the other ones. But all of them come from Romeo and Juliet. And so that becomes an interesting question. Like, where do you draw the line on a franchise? Running Man, there's going to be that new Running Man. Yeah. It looks nothing like the original film version. Oh. Yeah, the Arnold Schwarzenegger Running Man.
I don't know why I have ever watched that one, but I have a couple times.
It's great. Well, it's not great. It's dumb fun, but it's fun. And this new one looks like it's a lot of fun. Both of them are based on a story by Stephen King. Neither of them are related to the other. Yeah, so where do you draw the line on a franchise? And maybe that's a question for you, dear listener. But at least the next franchise will be easy to follow. I guess it's time to announce it, if you're okay with that. We are stepping into October, which means we're going to do something spooky dooky. And it's not going to be too spooky. We're going to do the Quiet Place trilogy. Next week,
I'm excited. The first one I enjoyed.
I was going to say, I've seen the first and the third, but I've never seen the second one. And I'm very excited to return to the first one. I saw it once. I had some complicated feelings about it then, and now I want to see if I still have those feelings.
I mean, I think it came out and it did well. I don't know, was that during COVID?
I cannot remember if it was during or right before, because I think the second one might have been during. I completely skipped the second one, and then the third one was a prequel, so I was like, yeah, I'll come back for that. I'll hear an origin story.
I guess we'll save most of our appraisals of it because I was about to be like, and I think going to the prequel is probably a good choice because I already know what happened to this family, but this is year into the future. Like,
yeah. But it is a thriller franchise. There are some jump scares. So if you as an audience member get easily spooked, we would understand your deciding not to join us. But I think it would be fun to try to have some kind of horror franchise around the October months.
Sure. And looking forward a year, you could go to the Cloverfield area.
Ooh, that's got a trilogy now. Yeah.
I vaguely remember the first one, but it felt a lot like 28 Days Later, where it's camcorder feel, but it still felt like a younger project of not the best acting, but the monster is there, and that's what we're really there for.
That's why we came. And then they proceed to do virtually nothing with the monster concept.
It's the tension that you're supposed to feel, man.
Well, fortunately, we're not doing that to you with the next franchise. Quiet Place has monsters in all 3 of its movies.
Yeah.
At least I hope so. I've never seen the second one.
Watch us be disappointed.
Yeah. So how many of those have you seen?
Just the first one.
Just the first one? Okay.
I only knew that there was a second one. I did not know anything about the third one.
Yeah, I did see the third one, so I am 1 ahead of you. But the second one is going to be new for both of us, so no spoilers in the comments, all right? That's what we're
Did you know in the prequel, Michael Caine is their granddad?
Exactly.
Could be. Who knows? I would die if it is. Oh, man.
Oh, that would be so funny. That'd be so funny if the second one took a hard turn into comedy, and that's why nobody ever talked about it, because they were like, "Did I watch the right movie? Like, what happened?" All right. Well, I haven't even picked out the music or looked into coming up with a cover for the new franchise, so. Yeah, we'll have to finish this one the same way we definitely finished all of them, with our patented groovy baby.
It's a fitting send-off. It's like pushing the casket out to sea. Thinking of James Bond.
And as we salute and the guns are raised, we all say, "Do I make you horny, baby?" And then the guns are fired. Word. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will be back next week with A Quiet Place. Goodbye.
See ya. That was fun.
Yeah, it was. And we even filled pretty much a whole hour.
Oh, yeah. I feel like sometimes it feels difficult, but then it's like, well, just don't pay attention to the ticker and just be like, this one extra thing. Guess what? We can talk about it for 15 minutes.
Yep. I will admit, around 30 minutes, I was like, uh-oh. I feel like we are done talking, and I don't know what we're going to do.
No, Ben, you were done talking. I got a couple pieces of things I can add.
You said no.
I said, oh. No, yeah.